Hello and welcome back to the 90s Mads podcast, your podcast for all things Newcastle United, hosted by three lifelong Newcastle United supporting friends. Myself, D-Man, joined today by my co-hosts AC and Jefferson. You guys good?
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah.
Good.
Just want to say Happy New Year, everyone. And
Indeed.
I've got some family that watch this as well that celebrate the Feast of Kings. So tomorrow is the last day of Christmas for any Catholics. And I know people in Brazil, Portugal, Spain, around the world celebrate a big day tomorrow. So just want to say happy
Big up.
feast day to them as well.
Okay. Our international fans on that. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, all that good stuff. Get involved in the chat, what we're going to talk about today. Obviously, we're doing a review of our latest victory, the 3 points at White Hart Lane, the 2-1 victory against Tottenham Hotspur. We will be joined by Darren T, our resident Tottenham Hotspur fan. He's been on the show before, so ready, he's ready. But yeah, I can't even say back to winning ways, you know? We win again, you know what I mean? It feels good. Yeah, it's not even a surprise anymore, you know what I mean?
It's crazy. I actually was thinking about it earlier and I was thinking, when was the last time we've had such a successful Christmas period?
You know what?
I can't remember, honestly.
I can't remember because I always dread Christmas with Newcastle because they just tend to just flap to the sea when they run out of steam and they get slapped and all them stuff. And we all remember last year as well. Like, yeah, it still haunts me to this day. Boxing Day, especially.
Boxing Day, I know. I don't really recall having good Boxing Days. I remember you almost like avoid the game on Boxing Day.
Yeah, it's just long.
I don't want to upset on Christmas, but yeah.
Wasn't there a recent record about us not winning a December the 30th game in 10 years or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
We recently broke that, didn't we?
Crazy. But yeah, never get tired of the team picture, you know, the team huddle picture after the end of the games, you know, the celebrate you picture and that. But yeah, listen, a lot to talk about. As usual, we're going to get initial thoughts on the game, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty. And then we'll probably talk about some of the other fixtures that's happened this weekend as well, notably that game at Anfield this evening. Very interesting. So hold tight, the Man United fans and Liverpool fans. But yeah, interesting.
Very interesting game, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll start with you, Jefferson. What were your overall thoughts on the game itself?
Wow, I wasn't expecting to start this one. Yeah.
Let's start with the Grim Reaper.
Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was really shocked at the display in a good way, more so the first half. I think there were some really good patterns of play, and I think we showed good resilience despite being caught cold, going in behind. So big props to the team for showing that mental fortitude, and then the toughness in the second half to cling on. Could it have been avoided? Maybe that's another story. We'll go into that later. But what we've shown is that we can grind out a tough and gritty win. And that's normally the signs of a good team, if they can win ugly, but also that we can respond when we've been pegged back, because we've seen too many times that we historically we've punched lightly. So I really was happy with some real individual performances as well, which again we'll talk about later. But I liked our defensive shape. Good to see Botman back as well, and he grew into the game, which was good to see. And I think it gave everybody, not just the players but the fans, a boost to see him. And no doubt about it, no matter the circumstances, you know, win against a legacy Big Six team, as they said on TNT Sports commentary, is still a big win, a big 3 points, and we keep the run going. Like you said, you know, almost astounded at it, and long may it continue.
Welcome, Darren T. Yeah, right on time. You good?
I'm good. Thank you. Sorry, I'm running a bit late.
That's all right.
Put the kids to bed.
Good. Welcome.
Yeah, man. Welcome to the slaughterhouse. But anyway,
Back.
but yeah, in terms of the game itself, you mentioned a few things there, Jefferson. I mean, obviously the main thing was the 3 points. We keep the winning run going, which was good. What I did like the fact that, you know, going into the game, yes, we were playing Spurs, but we were playing a depleted Spurs. You know, we heard about the injuries and, you know, they caught with a sickness bug, but we could have gone into this game very complacent, right? And we could have slipped up here. So credit to the team for getting the job done, getting the expected victory, guys. Because I think we went into the game favourites as well, so we got the expected victory. You know, it's not always the case. We see what happened at Anfield today. You know, everyone expected a hiding, and it didn't happen. So you know, these things can happen. So we were very professional. It was a game of two halves, and I know we showed the way we can attack in the first half, and I think that the second half was more about the defensive structure, like you mentioned. Keeping it tight and getting the job done. So, and like I said, there were a few standout performances that we'll get to. But yeah, positive overall. AC?
Yeah, it was a really positive outcome. And if I take my mind back before the ball was even kicked, there was a lot of build-up, speculation about who's going to be missing on the Tottenham side, the injuries, suspensions, the illness. And part of me had that at the back of my mind when I did my prediction. I did predict 2-0 to Newcastle, but I knew it'd still be nervy and a bit close and such. And the fact it ended on 2-1, and I think, Jefferson, you predicted 2-1, didn't you? So you got your prediction right. We've got to start building like a point system for this.
I was about to say that, you know, to the league table.
A league table, who gets predictions right. But so yeah, well done to you to getting those predictions right. But overall, yeah, I think it was an interesting game. I think, again, I think we're seeing our first half performance of our team being quite clinical. We'll go into the detail about Gordon, but the way he took that goal, man, was clinical. Because you got to remember, we were so like criticizing about our team not being clinical and not taking those chances. And the fact he took that chance as he did, because before that, I know we're going to go into the details about the 90 minutes and such, but there was a period at the start, it's almost like we couldn't get into the game. Tottenham were all on us, you know, and that's how we conceded and stuff. And later down the line, obviously, you bring on your reinforcements and then we're pinned back, you know, against the ropes quite a bit. But what's quite interesting, this team stayed disciplined. And that's really interesting because we do know on our good day, we can defend really well. It gets really structured. But most importantly, I think the big highlight for me is seeing Botman back. Man, it feels like years since we've seen this guy play in the shirt. It was a shock to see him start. I did not expect that at all. I think no one did. Yeah. But it was nice to see him back, and he definitely grew in the game. But yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get the perspective from the Spurs side. So, Darren T, what were your thoughts going into the game, and overall, just a summary of the game itself?
Okay, so my prediction was that we would lose 3-1. That was my original prediction. You've got evidence there, D-Man. We've got our predictions league, which I won last season, by the way.
Yeah, you did.
No, but I predicted we'd lose 3-1 because I just feel like there are certain. I mean, everybody knows how to exploit Tottenham now, to exploit that back line, and there's 3 teams that seem to do that very, very well: Chelsea, Liverpool, Newcastle. Because Isak getting in behind and Gordon getting in behind, Jacob Murphy on the other side, I knew it was going to be a long day for us. So, you know, to see us go 1-0 up, I thought, you know what, let's just hold on to this, lads. But then they equalised almost immediately. Now, I'm going to say it straight. It was handball. It shouldn't have been given, right? It shouldn't have been given. That was a handball, blatantly. We can go about it all day long. Handball by Joe Linton. That should never have been given. Should have blown straight away. Let's think Champions League final 2019. All right, with Sissoko, handball all day long. Change the trajectory of the ball. It gets fed through to Gordon. It was a good finish, but all of that aside, well, I'm gonna say it straight, and I'm not one to make a load of excuses. We lost fair and square. However, we've seen Dan Burn get a yellow card, handball it as well. We've seen Joe Linton thug his way out through the entire game. All right. The ref didn't cover himself in glory. The ref of the whole team didn't cover themselves in glory. However, what I will say is that you got behind us so many times throughout that game, as I said, which everybody seems to, that I can't turn around and say I'm mad at the fact. No, I'm mad. I can't turn around and say that you didn't deserve the win on the balance of play. Second half, we had, you were under the cosh. But at the end of the day, goals win games. And if we're not clinical enough, we don't score. If we don't score, we don't win those games.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple. So that is my balanced view on yesterday's game. I think if you just come and swept us aside 4-1, I probably wouldn't have been as vexed. But because of the nature of the first goal, the nature of the whole Joe Linton, Dan Burn thing, and the fact that we scored first and we had our chances, then I'm kind of like, I'll just kiss my teeth, man. I'm not even gonna lie, kiss my teeth. Like it's just like another loss on the books, isn't it? 20 games and we've lost 10 at the last 10 at the last 20. It's not good.
We'll talk about the league table towards the end anyway. But listen, let's get to the nitty-gritty of the game itself. I know you touched on a few things there. Actually, I went to the game myself. I took my son there, first time seeing Newcastle. We had to sit in the Spurs end, but shout out my dad for the tickets and that. And I think I mentioned on social media, this brother tried to get me killed. Yeah, because I told my son before the game, listen, I told him from months ago, we're going to the game.
He's wearing his shirt, wasn't he?
No. I said, we're sitting in the Spurs end. So if Spurs score, we just have to stand up and just a little light clap. If Newcastle score, we sit down, we shake our fists there. He's wearing his Spurs kit. Yeah, he's wearing his Spurs kit. Right, cool. We go there during the warm-up, and there's people sitting next to me. All he's talking about is, right, where's Isak? Where's Tonali? Where's Almiron? Where's nothing about Spurs, you know? Yeah. Why has it only got the Spurs things on the screen? I'm like, bruv, we're in the Spurs, Spurs' ground. Relax. The game starts. He starts singing, oh, Anthony Gordon, like Sandro, ole. And like, come on, Newcastle. And when Newcastle scored, like, yes, Newcastle. I'm like, bruv, you must want to get me killed in there, bruv. Relax. Relax. He's like, why? You hate Tottenham. I'm like, nah, bro. This is enough.
No.
He's on a death wish. But yeah, to the game itself, obviously, we heard that Botman were back in the squad, and then we see him in the starting lineup, which was a surprise for Newcastle fans. A nice surprise. He was playing out of position, the right centre back role. May I ask whatever? So we have two left-footed centre backs playing. What I will say that Lloyd Kelly must be trash in training. If he can't get a start, and you're bringing Botman back after 10 months out, and he just throwed him in the deep end, that says a lot about Lloyd Kelly. But it is what it is, isn't it? Yeah, I did think that there would be a slight chance that Eddie Howe rotates a little bit because of the nature of the number of games we've played in a short period of time, and we've got the semi-final coming up. I thought maybe he might rotate one or two, but he went with our strongest lineup available. And obviously we saw the Spurs team, the makeshift back line. However, I know they had the bug, but they had, in terms of the squad, they had their players there. They had Madison Son on the bench. They had, obviously, the keeper was the main one, his first start. Austin, I think his name was. Austin, yeah. Dragosin played, and then obviously you got the Spence and Porro. You still have Kulusevski, Solanke, Werner up front, Sarr in midfield. So not all bad, but I can see it was a weakened Spurs team. But then, listen, the game starts, the Spurs are on the front foot, you know, and they take the lead after what, 2-3 minutes, I think it was, something like that. And listen, well worked in a sense, a good ball from Pedro Porro and the movement from Solanke, but he's caught Botman sleeping, and that's the rustiness. Yeah, Botman's caught on his heels. Solanke gets in front of him, nods it in. You know, Dubs had no chance, 1-0. And funny enough, like this is actually the third game that my son's been to, right? So he went to the Chelsea Fulham game, he went to the Palace Southampton game, and then this one. So after the Palace Southampton game, Curtis, my best friend who's Newcastle fan, he said, "Oh, I need you. I make sure you go to this game, Ruben, because we hope Tottenham score first, because you seem to be every time the team scores first, they lose. Yeah. So Chelsea scored first against Fulham, they lost. Southampton scored first against Palace, they lost. He said, if Tottenham score first, I know Newcastle are winning. Yeah. Lo and behold, Tottenham score first, Newcastle won it. So, but yeah, you go 1-0 up. And to be fair, I wasn't worried. I wasn't worried. It was early on. I thought, you know, we just need to settle down a little bit. And we did. We settled down. Right. You speak about the handball now, right? Now, there's a comment from, I think it is Woodby Farmer. He's put handball with a question mark with the current rewritten rules. No, yeah, and I agree because the FA, the Premier League clarified it. There wasn't an unnatural movement from his hand, yeah, and in the Premier League group state, if it's no, especially if he had been on the goal line and he did it, it's a goal. But anywhere else on the pitch, if it's unnatural movement, they don't give it. Yeah. So even with the penalties, if it's not an unnatural movement, if your arms are out, they don't give it. Yeah. So to me, I think they got it right. Yeah.
Close proximity to the body as well.
Exactly. And let's talk about the build up to the goal as well, because it starts from your keeper who plays it out, I think, to Sarr, and Tonali puts Sarr under pressure, and he overhits his pass to Bergevall. Bergevall's stretching. Yeah, he's stretching. So he's played it into Joe Linton's arm. Obviously, we've reacted quickly. I think he's fell to Bruno, who's fed it to Gordon, and a very, very good finish. Slots it bottom corner, 1-1. And from then on, I thought we edged the first half, should I say, because we had a number of opportunities in that half. I don't know if you guys remember. I think Isak put one when Murphy slid through Isak. He's put his foot on it. Gordon's at the back post. He's just gone wide. Gordon had another one. It forced a good save from Austin at the near post. I think there was another one as well. I think it was Gordon, and he should have put it to Isak or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but we created the more clear-cut opportunities, and we were in control. I think what was good about the first half of this phase, our midfield as well, because I don't know if you guys realised, the three of them were moving in tandem across the pitch and controlling it with their quick passing. And it was drawing the Tottenham players over to one side, and we just get like the likes of Bruno would spray it over to the other side, leading Tino or Lewis Hall wide open, and Tottenham couldn't really deal with it. So I thought that respect was really good. I think we should have been 1 or 2 more goals up in the first half because we had control. We didn't really take the chances. But I don't know what you thought, Jefferson, about the first half itself.
Yeah, I'll just quickly start with Botman. Now, I know in the group I wouldn't say, I think I was more sort of worried for Botman rather than being against Botman, more like protective of the guy because we know how important he is. And my first thought was, why has Eddie chucked him in? Because it is risky, but you could argue it was genius that paid off or it was madness. But I would have liked to have seen him maybe start in a game like Bromley. But I think we got quite lucky, although I'm hoping, at the end, it was cramp as opposed to
he confirmed this cramp. Yeah.
Thank goodness for that. So we thank God for that. But he clearly got caught rusty for the first goal. And I said there's a difference between reserve football and then playing sort of top level football. However, what he did do is he grew into the game, and he made up for that with some real key blocks and interceptions. And I thought he wasn't as good with the first balls, but the second balls he was actually really good at. He made sure he swept up, came into the midfield a few times as well when needed. So I thought having Botman there, if anything, was more of a mental boost for the players. The player of his stature and quality is only going to lift the other 10 players. So you could argue that's advantage Eddie. I'll give him some kudos on that in terms of selecting him. But I was going to touch on it that particularly in the first half, I didn't notice that they shifted a lot of attacks down the left side, very heavy, but we could switch over to the right. And I think the reason for that is creating that space. We know that the most important link up in recent games has been Isak and Murphy. So if you create space for Murphy then has time on the ball, less panicked, he can whip in a good ball. Obviously, it did result in the second goal. But for me as well, standout, my man of the match, particularly Tino. Tino was amazing, helping defend. I did say at the start of the game, particularly because of Botman and Burns like a pace, that this was going to be a game for the fullbacks. And I don't think Hall had the best of games, but the way Tino played, he played good enough for both of them.
He shackled Werner in that first half. He shackled Werner. He got no change out of him.
Bang, bang,
and
bang, bang.
The darting runs, like you said, that he was doing, the cutting his side and driving. He was
wow.
on it.
And I don't know if it's because Thomas Tuchel was watching. And again, like I say, Hall and Tino had sort of opposing games where maybe Hall shrunk into himself and Tino kind of really put himself out there to be like, yo, make sure you pick me in the next selection. But I thought the team had the balance right. And what I loved was the quick frequency of passing, great movement. They were confident, and it was in that first half, wave after wave of attack. There was some clear intent in terms of where they were playing the ball and what they wanted to do. And what I like was we lifted our heads up. There was continuous efforts. You mentioned Gordon had a few as well. But, you know, all I can say is right now, the justification of Murphy playing is very simply he makes Isak better. And what is that? That's maybe the 7th combination they've had. So, you know, the assists are simply racking up for Murphy on the basis that, look, you know, that combination is working. But yeah, I'm sure there's lots and lots and lots to cover more about this game. So I'll jump off at this point here.
AC, anything you want to add about the first half itself?
I think you guys covered a lot, and I think if I just save my stuff here, I might just echo. But in particular, though, I think, like you said, Jefferson, Tino was a really standout for that first half. And because of that, it almost like we were the first to a lot of balls, it felt like. And I think the energy definitely changed after the Gordon goal, no doubt. It's really interesting about the handball situation because, to be honest, like, even when you look at it, Joe Linton had, there's nothing he could have done. It's like, he was, the way he come to the ball, it's just like his hand was where it was. And obviously with the new rules and such, and I know it's one of those ones where, like, if it happened to us, we would be fuming. And I totally understand your frustration, Darren. I completely understand that, because if the shoe was on the other foot and that was Solanke on through to goal and he scored, this podcast right now would be fuming. We'll be lifting it up right now, tearing up the floorboards. But I think it's just, I don't know, it is what it is. But I think once again though, Gordon's finishing though was so good. Like, when this guy finishes sometimes, right? When he finishes and he has it on target like that, it's honestly like some of the best you can see in the league at the moment, honestly. And slowly but surely, especially in this run of games now, these 6 wins on the bounce, etc., Gordon is again performing in every single game. I think we have to highlight it. And I think in the past, once again, when we're going for that rough patch, we were criticizing, we were like, his head's been turned, he's not in it, etc. Every single game he's played, it's not just about his attacking qualities, his defensive qualities as well. Gordon has been shining. And I just want to highlight that, because I know later down the line we're going to talk about our key players, etc. But we have to acknowledge Gordon, because once again, he takes that situation, he's clinical with it.
And because impressive.
Because the thing is, because of the handball situation and because the unnerviness around it, he could have got thrown off, he could have been like, and not shot. You know what I mean? Because the situation was weird at the time. But the fact he just went, he still had mind about goal.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it and look back as well, Austin was a bit off, the defense was a bit off, everyone was a bit like, whoa, you blow the whistle, and then do you see what I mean?
Rules, play to the whistle.
That's
but
it.
the thing is,
it was impressive though, the fact that he took it on his left foot as well, because you know Gordon normally cuts inside and he puts it with the right end in the corner. He's taking it in the left of the thing and caught the keeper unawares as well, like you said. So he's working. He definitely worked, because he had another shot with his left foot as well. So he's definitely working on a few things which seem to be paying off. So yeah, like you said, full credit to him, man. We do have to remember we did go 2-1 up in the half. The well-worked move. Isak scoring.
Yeah, Isak's goal was it's beautiful, man. This guy, once again, Murphy. It's really interesting, because I know we scream out for a right wing, and we still scream out for it. You know, we know Jacob Murphy's not going to be the complete thing, because we are going through this good patch, and we'll talk about it later down the line. But I do think Murphy, it's a weird one where we know his form can dip, and when it dips, we're suddenly going to see this right-hand side dry up. And we said it before, Isak will score if you provide him. If you provide him, he will score. But just looking at that goal, that touch, because even when I saw it first time, I was like, did he touch that? But when you saw the replay from the other angle, and you see his just like delicate touch on it, I was just like, this guy's got some crazy instincts right now, where that split second for him to do that is just, you know, the man's on form right now.
And that's 7 in a row, isn't it? 7 in a row.
7 in a row. And I think
he's that record.
He's on form to break the record. I think he will, to be honest, because our next set of fixtures, we'll talk about it down the line of who we got coming up. I don't see why he wouldn't score in those games as well, to be honest. But yeah, overall, it was a good first half. But what was quite interesting is that this first half reminds me of our first half against Manchester United. It's very similar. It's very similar how the games goes, where in that previous game, Man U made their changes. In this game, Tottenham made their changes. And then all of a sudden, the trajectory of the game changes a little bit. But we'll get into that now about the second half.
Because I actually think, before I go to Darren T on something, I actually think, obviously, I don't think it's a deliberate ploy to have the teams swarm us like that in the second half. But I think our game plan is start fast, get the goals, and then protect it. I think that's what that seems to be our game, or not go as full pelt in the second half, preserve some energy, maybe get 1 or 2 chances on the break and see what we can do. Obviously, we don't want to concede too many chances, and we'll talk about second half as well. But same like Man United, there weren't too many clear-cut chances that Spurs had. Yeah, so we'll get to that anyway. But before we do, Darren T, just a random one. How did you rate Newcastle midfield, the Tonali, Bruno, and Joe Linton? Because us Newcastle fans, we love it, and there's talks of it now being arguably the best midfield in the Premier League. What's your thoughts on them?
Well, when I last had the pleasure of being on here with you guys, I spoke about the midfield as well. I think I spoke about this exact same thing, and I said, I can't remember fully what I said, but I was singing their praises. I saw the midfield because it was on DD. I did the DD Footy Factory show yesterday, and we did the team news. And as soon as I saw your midfield, I knew it is going to be a wrap. I just thought, nah, all 3 of them, like, they're going to give us problems. And exactly what happened. They just gave us so many problems. And, you know, we've got a midfield of, what is it, Kulusevski, Sarr, Bergvall. Kulusevski didn't really get into his stride. He was trying a lot of things, but it didn't really work. Sarr was giving the ball away so much in his own half. And Bergvall played well, one of our better players, but he's young, he's 18. You know, that is, your midfield was experience, a lot of experience in that midfield, a lot of experience. Guimaraes, Joe Linton, Bruno, although Joe Linton's thuggery should have seen him off the pitch, I believe. Right. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, credit where credit is due. When he wasn't trying to trample over everybody, in a white shirt, he does a job in it.
He's a disruptor.
He does a job.
Disruptor.
Yeah, he is, but he doesn't need to disrupt by like stamping on people and stuff, and like, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's yeah, it's a very good midfield, and when them 3 are ticking, it wins you many games. It wins you a lot of games. It gets you yeah, it's so beneficial for you. You know, it'd be nice to. We've got something near. I don't want to say we've got something near that quality, but we haven't necessarily got the quality of Guimaraes and Tonali. I wouldn't say so Joe Linton, but you know, we haven't got that quality there, and it showed. To be honest with you, it showed. We're still sort of let's say a developing midfield, but that midfield really was pivotal in you winning the game yesterday, I believe.
Darren, was you not impressed? Was you not impressed with Bergvall in that second half? Because Ange, I think, I know as good as Maddison is, but I think Ange shot himself in the foot when he took Bergvall off, because he was causing problems. And I think if he stayed on, you probably would have scored, you know. He was killing us, man.
Yeah, Bergvall, maybe I'm being a bit conservative, but Bergvall, I did say he's one of our better players. I mean, he's taken him some time to kind of get used to the rigors of the Prem, but he's getting quite a few minutes. I think it's you know, a lot because of the injuries and the rotation and stuff. So he's been forced into getting more minutes than I think Ange wanted. I'd be interested to see him and Archie Gray in the midfield at some point. But Bergvall really showed himself. He accounted for himself well yesterday. Just to lead on to, you know, as you spoke about the substitution, right? This is Ange does these things. He does these mad substitutions at such inappropriate times. When Bergvall's motoring, and you could see he was vexed. He was upset.
The fans booed it, I think.
Yeah. Because Ange does this a lot. You could see that they were quite upset about it. And I mean, I wasn't super mad because I thought Maddison would still do a job, but I do think he should have kept Bergvall on with Maddison. I think Sarr should have gone off, to be honest with you, because Sarr was making quite a few individual errors, especially passing at the back. And Bergvall's much better than Sarr at doing that. But again, is what it is, isn't it? Is what it is. Is what it is. I have quite a lot more to say, but I'm just trying to be quite conservative tonight. I don't know.
No, let's hear it. But all right, let's talk about the second half itself then in entirety, because obviously, before
we do, I think we should go through some comments, because a lot of conversation going on in the chat, and I think it all reflects on some of the stuff we were talking about earlier. We got a comment from Would-Be Farmer. That's a great name. Handball ? With the current rewritten rules. No.
Yeah, that's the one I said earlier. Yeah. When we spoke about
it. I refer to the FA website and the IFAB rules that they have. There is a diagram there which will talk about handball and no handball. We all see it. We all know it. You can always talk about the letter of the law and what have you, but we know what it is, innit? I don't care. We know what it is.
They put their statement up on the screen, on the Tottenham screen, about why they're allowed to go. Yeah? So
I think if it was, sorry to cut you, bro, but if it was, the fact is, it directly affected the trajectory of the ball, which led to the goal. Like, surely common sense will tell you that you don't allow that goal, because I still think it's open to some form of interpretation, and I feel like their interpretation there was incorrect.
Well, we've got this comment from Would-Be Farmer, which we're going to talk about as well. If Joelinton deserved the handball call, then Gordon deserved the penalty for the face smash, both incidental and not intended by the player. Listen, that was you know what? When that happened, my son went, "That's a penalty. That's a penalty," and I'm like, "Nah, it's accidental." Did it? But when I saw the replay, bro, and I saw the man's nose,
shoulder charge,
and bleeding, that's a pen. That's a pen. Accident or not, that's a pen. That's a pen.
And Solanke should have had a yellow card for doing a karate kick on Dubravka's face.
100%.
Could have been worse, actually. But
I raised you on Joelinton.
Sorry, not Sane.
Yeah, but Joelinton got booked.
Mane got sent off for that against City many years ago. Same thing.
Yeah, Joelinton was booked on the game. You look
for the elbow in the head. For the elbow on back of Bergvall's head.
I can't remember.
I raised you that one as well. He elbowed Bergvall on the back of the head.
But you had one booking all game. You had one booking all game, and there's no way you should have walked away with just one booking. Yeah, we had 5.
One booking? Was that it?
They had one booking all game.
Wow, they were fouling a lot. 11 fouls. Right? Spurs made one yellow card. Newcastle made 15 fouls and got 4. So I think we know whose side the ref was on there, I think.
Should have been one red. At least one red.
Yeah. We should have had a pen.
Speaking of Joelinton,
we should have had a pen.
Mukta's left a comment. He said, "I love Joelinton, but yesterday he was treading the line in the summer. We're going to need a creative midfielder next to Bruno, because we got legs in both Tonali and Bruno. We need creativity on the left." Listen, I don't know. Well, I do. We need, if we're gonna qualify for the big competitions, we need strength and depth in it. But I think those 3 at the moment complement each other perfectly, because they're so fluid. And I think yesterday was the first time you really saw the interchange of Bruno and Tonali doing the 6 and the 8 and swapping like that. I think that was like, and
Bruno was on one yesterday, man.
Because you got Tonali the conductor, Bruno the what do you call it, the orchestrator, and you've got Joelinton the destroyer.
Joelinton the muscle.
You know what I mean? It is, but they complement each other.
MMA fighter, man. MMA fighter. That's what he was on, man. Some UFC thing he was on yesterday, man.
Hold that, Kante. He said, "Hats off to Bergvall, the big future." Yeah, listen, a lot of Newcastle fans were talking about him yesterday as well, to be fair. But yeah.
Can I make one thing as well? Also about it's linked a little bit to Mukhtar's point, because as much legs as Joelinton has got, we suffer with Bruno. His lack of ground speed was showing, because he just can't get there. Yeah. And Tonali's having to do the run of 2 men. Yeah. And sometimes Joelinton, I don't know, it's like you're not closing down quick enough. And that was evident with Bergvall. We know he's a danger man. He had acres of time and space on the ball. I'm thinking, who's closing him down? Yeah. How many times do you have to see him on the ball before you know he's a danger man? The other one for me on the other side, what I was saying, Hall had a bad game, if you ask me. Porro assists the first goal. And it's evident when the ball comes deep, he's going to swing it in. He's a threat. He's got a shot off the edge of the box. He's got a deadly and no one could get close to him all game.
To be fair, I mean, don't get me wrong, Hall was caught sleeping. Yeah, I don't think he had a particularly bad game. I think it's because Tino had a better game. Hall wasn't really bombing forward as much as we thought, as he usually does and stuff like that. But I think he was still quite defensively sound. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think he obviously he didn't have the greatest games. But speaking of Lewis Hall, we've got a DB NUFC 83. He said, "Big up lads, big up the panel, great result." I said 4 points from the 2 games and we collected 6, so buzzing. Question, is Lewis Hall currently the best left back in the league? And he said thoughts on the bottom of minutes. Now, listen, we're not the only one. I'm not the only one, but there's a lot of talk externally about Lewis Hall being the best left back in the league currently. Yeah. And I know, what do you call it?
Sorry to interrupt you. I just want to say that it's really interesting at the moment that all our players at the moment are getting attention in media.
Yeah.
If you check it, everyone's talking about Lewis Hall, best left back, best England left back. People talking about Isak, like best striker in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, you're hearing all types of nonsense. I mean, we will talk about that nonsense as well, but I am not happy about, this cartel, the big six, all saying that like, oh, he has to leave. Where would he go, etc. And I'm just like, listen, right?
They're trying to get him a move. They're trying to get him a move.
Trying to unsettle him. It's like the guy's on form right now, right? And you're trying to unsettle him, trying to say, oh, he should go Arsenal or blah, blah, blah. It's just like, I'm going to tell you this straight. And I'm going to say it right now. Isak ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
He ain't going nowhere.
That's it.
Because you know what's going to be funny as well? We are going to finish above certain teams this season. I'm going to say it right now. And I'm probably looking at teams like Man United right now who would cry for this player, Arsenal, right. And you know that price tag, I think it's like 150 mil, right? But I can see this. I can see this 200. This could be a 200 price tag. This could be silly money. He's not going nowhere because he's enjoying.
They ain't gonna let Newcastle ain't gonna let Arsenal go and buy Isak for less than like 150 or what have you. It's gonna be well over Declan Rice,
especially when we're their competition. You know what I mean? They're our rivals now, isn't it? So
exactly. And how many years has he got left on his contract? Do you know what I mean?
4 years.
That's a factor. 4 years left. Yeah. So he's not gonna go. I think Arsenal fans are. I'm gonna just dig in Arsenal fans, give them a dig quickly here. Like, there's a lot of delusion.
Come on,
a lot of delusion. There's a lot of delusion. They think they've got a real sense of entitlement with regards to who they can get from who they can't. Do you understand? So they can't just like rock up and go up to Newcastle. We've just been bought by Saudi owners, and they just spent what £58 million. It was on Isak, the 58 million quid. Like, and he's one of the most exciting players to watch in the Prem when he's on form. Yeah. You think you're just gonna rock up and just go and grab him like for 20p?
Isn't it? Have some respect, man.
Get out of here, man.
On the Lewis Hall thing, I know Kante keeps saying that Anthony Robinson is the best left back in the league. How did he do today? Who did they play again? Who did Fulham play today?
Ipswich.
Okay, how many goals they conceded?
2, didn't they?
Okay,
2.
Cool.
Wait,
just checking.
the lash is a problem.
Just checking, yeah. Okay, yeah. Letting lowly Ipswich score past you. Come on, have some shame, man. Have shame. Well, anyway, we move. Yeah.
Boy.
But yeah, to summarize the second half, right? Obviously, Spurs did create a few chances. I wouldn't say too many clear-cut chances. I think really the one where they fizzed it across the goal a couple of times, and I think Johnson hit the post. But what impressed me about Newcastle defending, obviously, listen, it wasn't the best, but what the tactical change that Eddie Howe did was, I don't think if you don't notice, but he squeezed the 2 centre backs with the fullbacks over on the right side to cut down that channel that in between the fullback and the centre back. Spurs couldn't get through on both sides because you had, I think it was Byrne and Hall, Botman and Livramento, and then sometimes Joe Linton tucked in, sometimes Murphy tucked in.
Came a 5-4-1.
Yeah, so they were forcing like crosses to Solanke when Solanke had 2 men on him. So that was really effective because as much as I think it was more the crowd getting behind Spurs that drove them forward. But if you think about it, how many key saves did Dubravka have to make? Not many. Yeah,
not many.
The one that he did from, I think it was Sarr, whatever, that was going wide anyway. Yeah, when Johnson hits the post. So to me,
it's funny.
You sure about that? I felt like it was creeping.
No, it was on target. That shot, it was on target.
I don't know.
When I watched the replay,
from where I was behind the goal, it looked like it was going. Maybe I'm wrong, but it looked like it was going wide. But that was the only meaningful save, though. That was the only.
How did Johnson miss that though?
Tight
It was.
angle.
Should have scored.
It was instinctive. It was a tight angle. Like I can see why he'd miss it. I can see why somebody could miss it. It's just quick. It's just instinctive. That could happen to anybody. That could happen to anybody. A lot of Spurs fans slate Johnson, and they've been slating him because that he missed that. But I'm like, well, he's one of the best finishers at the club.
Yeah, no, I rate him. He saved you guys a few times this season. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. Statistically speaking, he's one of the. But he doesn't. Yeah.
You think hit it at the roof of the net because once the keeper's down, you've got the whole top half of the goal to aim at. But I get it; he hasn't got a lot of time to.
Man, it's just quick. It's just quick.
Yeah.
I give him the benefit of the doubt with that one. You know, I give him the benefit with the other 11 that he scored. You know what I mean? I give him the benefit of the doubt with that one. To be honest with you,
that's quite a few goals.
So I'm just throwing that out. I'm not throwing that at you. I'm throwing it at Spurs fans. You know. But anyway,
we got
get slated a lot.
Ashington made a good point. He said we missed a few easy chances too, especially in that second half. There was one, Gordon. You see that one?
To Isak, man.
Exactly. Tonali's driven through. He's shot. He's got blocked by the Spurs player, and all Gordon has to do is square it to Isak for the open goal, and he's blazed it over. Isak was livid, absolutely livid. But at the same time, in the first half, when Isak had that touch and it could have gone to Gordon, Gordon was livid as well. But yeah, and
you see the other one through the middle where we were on the break and Isak had to curve his run twice. He was waiting for the ball. And it's like Murphy, I don't know, either he couldn't see it or he had his head down because he ran in front, realized, oh shit, I'm offside, came back on side. He was like, come on, give me the ball. And the ball didn't come. It was like,
Yeah, I know.
But Stephen Fields.
That's a good example of like when we eventually do upgrade our right wing. Imagine someone so clinical in that position. They are passing that ball immediately.
But you know, we have to do that in January because, like you said, AC, Murphy's form will dip soon. Yeah?
It will.
I think if we could play a masterstroke here by having Murphy doing so well for now, but get a right winger in January. So when his form does dip, we've got someone in to come in, and take his place because we'll need something new. Obviously, the link up with Isak is going really well right now, but that can only work for so long.
And also, to highlight this even further, is that at the moment, Murphy is our only right wing outlet. I think there's a very good chance that Almiron is going to get sold this month. I think he will go, because he's not getting a look in at all. Did he come in on actually as a sub? I can't remember. I don't think he did. I don't think he did.
Who?
Longstaff did, didn't he? The subs later on the game because. There was a situation, and we'll get into that Eddie Howe did subs quite late. And this is quite interesting with Eddie Howe, man, because it's like I used to criticize this man for always hitting the subs on the 60 or 65 minute. It was just like Groundhog Day. I was just like, I'm watching the same game again. Now this game, I'm like, bro, you need to bring in some fresh legs onto this pitch because
we were lacking a bit.
When Spurs had us against the ropes, you had us against the ropes, right? Like, and we knew that like. It was getting a bit squeaky bum time because it's that classic thing of like our margin was only 1 goal ahead, and we definitely knew that it's an away game where this is going to go to the final whistle, right? And also when we found out it's going to be 10 extra minutes, that turned out to be 12,
13. He played 13
minutes for some reason, right? We'll get into that, right? Because this is we'll definitely get into that. What's his name? James Bradley, the referee. He's the same referee, by the way, who blew the whistle on us in that Liverpool game when Isak and Willock were on the bounce and they blew the whistle. Anyway, we'll get into that. But going back to, I forgot what I was going to talk about actually now. My brain just went. Game
management.
Substitutions, that's it, substitutions. The substitutions were too late. And I feel like we can easily talk on off a few people like put Willock on, for Joe Linton a bit earlier, because he would have been that good player to keep the energy going forward. Because with the situation that was against the ropes, we were still doing a counter attack when we could, and there was still that little bit of chance. And I feel like it's very similarities against us at Man United, where we had to sit back. Now, what's been interesting about this is there's almost like a little bit of theory. Now, I'm not saying this theory is right. This is just like what I've heard from someone else, and I think myself, D-Man, and Jefferson, we talked about it a little bit for our group chat, but not extensively, is at the moment, with our 7 wins in a row, there's a bit of a pattern.
Six
wins in a row.
Yeah.
There is a bit. Sorry, so I'm getting ahead of myself.
You have to about to cut in there,
Visualising the future.
There's a
Make
little
it 7
pattern.
against Arsenal, please. Make it 7.
Oh, don't worry, I think it's coming, and we'll get into that as well.
And
A little bit of prediction because is that we seem to be really on the front foot in the first half. And now, with Eddie Howe's side, and especially where we were when we qualified for Champions League in that great season of 22-23, is that it's always high intensity. And I think we learned from last season when we were doing that, we got a lot of injuries. There seems to be a pattern here that we have the high intensity in the first half, but second half, we seem to slow it down a little bit. We're not as going so much on the front foot. Now, it could be the timing as well that when the substitution did come from Tottenham, it did change the game. Because all of a sudden you saw Maddison getting on the ball. He's trying to, naturally, you're going to have to go through a period where you got to hold back a little bit and just hold your line. Because, we are the defending team in that situation, which is very similar to the game in Man United. But I do wonder, with our, obviously, person behind the scenes of James Bunce monitoring our injuries and strategies around that and reserving energy on players, etc., all that data, all the analytics, he's saying that probably you know what, you can go front forward on the first half, but second half, put it back a little bit, consume energy.
Game management.
And then therefore you're less likely to have injuries, and if you manage it well, you can come out these games and still win, which it could be a theory here, but it's interesting that there seems to be a common theme that, we seem to ourselves getting us over the line. Though it can be quite difficult at times because this 1-goal lead was nervy. Man United was a bit different. We had a 2-0 lead. So, we're a bit more comfortable. Anyway, I just throw it out there.
I would say is, I've said it in terms of the evolution of the team. We started to see it slightly in the game against Man United and yesterday. We need to turn into a possession team because surely don't you use less energy when you have possession of the ball? We've seen it with Barcelona and Man City. Other teams get tired when you're having a chase after the ball. But even if you're just holding position and you're doing like a mid-press, come back, side to side to side to side, that takes energy. You're better off controlling the ball and just doing triangles and holding the ball in an area. Because right. I think the maximum we should be doing that is in terms of sitting back is 10 to 15 minutes maximum. Then we need to make the substitutions. The key is to get 4 or 5 fresh players on. But instead, what we do is sit back and invite pressure where potentially we could end up dropping points, key points, because Man United had chances. Spurs had chances. Obviously, not as many as first seemed when you rewatch the game, but they had enough to potentially nick a point or get back into the game.
You know what? I take your point. What I will say in that is that a combination of what you guys are saying, there does seem to be a deliberate theme to be on the front foot in the first half and then sit back in the second half. But I think, obviously, where you understand, we are very hard to break down. We defend the structure that we have. The defensive structure we have is pretty good, right? You talk about Man United and Spurs. How many saves did Bradford have to make in those 2 games in the second half alone? Yeah, very few, very few. So it's because we're looking at it from Newcastle's side, like, we're absorbing too much pressure. But on the flip side, they could be looking at, okay, you ain't scoring. You still ain't scoring. In the second half, in both those games, none of those teams have scored. So I think it's a deliberate play to be hard to break down in the second half. Now, you talked about control, Jefferson. Obviously, we are having more control slightly than obviously the 2 seasons ago and last season because obviously we got Tonali, whatever. But I honestly do. I'm starting to believe it's because of the personnel. Tonali's the only one to control the game. We ain't got the other. What other players can control football in our team? There's very few. Yeah. And especially as most of them are used to playing the Eddie Howe way of gung ho, whatever it is, it's going to take a lot more players to come in, new players to come in, to change that kind of, the way we control games. And yes, we would like to be like that, but I just don't think at the moment our strengths are we can defend it compactly and we can score goals. So I think we have to play to our strengths. Obviously, I agree the substitutions way too late because we were kind of dying on our feet a little bit. So he could have brought in 2 or 3 more earlier to see out the game. But where it was so close, you brought on Longstaff and in 5 minutes, he was farting around the place for 5 minutes. Yeah, absolutely. So imagine if he'd been on the pitch for like 15. He could have cost us. Yeah. So
and I think not to target Longstaff in this, but like, man, it's just like the differences. It's like night and day. When he came on, and it's that classic Longstaff thing. He's like Murphy. He just finds himself in good positions. I'm like, yo, this is the opportunity. Use it. And he just loves it, man. I'm just like,
bring in some of these comments because they're all talking about the same thing. Start from Stephen. He said Eddie's in-game management is still iffy. Bit late with the subs, but hope he learns. And then Ashington has said, what worries me is we don't have much of the ball and mainly defending. It always feels like we will concede. And then DB's come in and said, good point, AC. James Bunt has had a word with Eddie, and I think he is the reason behind our reduced intensity and less injuries. Silent assassin. And then Would-be Farmers raised a good point. He said, it seems like Howe's plan was to absorb pressure and catch them on the counter. If we would have taken our chance in the second half, his plan would look genius. Right now, it looks a bit lucky.
Can I interject regarding that Would-be Farmer comment? Because he's got that spot on. Because the problem is we're too easy to read. I said that earlier. The fact of the matter is, first half, you've taken the lead. Second half, you decided to sit back and guaranteed you're going to catch us on the counter. Everybody does. Even though Would-be Farmer, you're saying right now it looks a bit lucky. It wasn't, because everybody knows how to play us. Everybody from Forest to Galatasaray to Karabag to Chelsea to Liverpool. Everybody knows how to play Tottenham because we are so predictable. So it was we played the right way in the second half because Garrett, you had chances in that second half. You had the more clear-cut chances in the second half. All it takes is one ball over the top and we're lost at sea. So it was the correct game plan because everybody knows it. Do you know what I mean?
Darren,
it's the world.
Darren, do you not think I actually thought what's his name? Jed Spence actually did better at centre back than he did at fullback. It looked like we couldn't get past him because he had a lot of pace.
Jed Spence. Can I speak on Jed Spence quickly, please? Can I speak on Jed Spence? Because how this brother has been sat down for 2 years, not in the Europa League squad. It's criminal. It is criminal. Since he's at Forest, right? Since he was at Forest when they were in the Championship, I said, and we bought him. I thought, you know what? It's a good buy. I think he'll be good. But for some reason, ever since I think it was Conte said he was a club buy, he's just not had any
opportunity,
any game time. No opportunity. And I'm just coming and not giving him the opportunity. He's only there now out of desperation. But he's performing exactly the way I thought he would perform. He's better now than Udogie is at this particular moment in time. He's more versatile. He can play right, he can play left. Now we've seen him play centre back. Also, that is, but I would just say we do have Dorrington. We did have Dorrington on a recognised centre back on the subs bench, and Ange didn't put him on. We had 4 fullbacks. We had 3 fullbacks in the midfielder in our back 4, by the way, second half, which is also criminal. Also criminal. Right?
That was us against Man United at Old Trafford last season, man. We got a 3-0
crazy, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. And this is what we're talking about with Ange and the subs. Like the things he does. All right, Dragusin goes off. I don't mind Dragusin going off because, to be honest with you, he's not really set the world alight since he's been at Spurs. He's made quite a few mistakes. And his agent talks too damn much. But I thought, all right, you take off Dragusin, you put on a recognised centre back in Dorrington. He's fortunate. Ange's fortunate that Archie Gray and Jed Spence have been doing a half decent job there because that's neither of their natural positions. But Jed Spence, for me, has been our best player in the last 3 or 4 games. Ever since, and when he plays, he plays well. I don't blame him for the Murphy cross for the Isak goal. He tried, but apart from that, he's the one who made a good account of himself, and he's made a good account of himself since he's come back into the fold. So it's weird what Ange was seeing in training, or what wasn't Ange seeing in training when Jed Spence was in training. Because look at him, he's come and slotted in.
Just speaking of, obviously quickly on the standout players, and you spoke about your Jed Spence and that. The keeper, Austin, I thought he had a good game. Yeah, first start for Spurs. He looked quite commanding in the box. His distribution looked all right. He made some good saves. You know, credit to him. He did okay. You know, he did all right. I don't know how long he's going to be in because I think it was illness that kept Foster out.
We signed a keeper today.
Yeah, he's trying to, which is unfortunate for him. He said, yeah. So
Kinski from Slavia Prague, but he's an unknown quantity to me. But yeah, he's an unknown. But it needed to happen. It needed to happen.
Do you think you're going to sell? Are you going to sell keeper then? What are you going to do?
Well, Vicario's out for the season, isn't he?
Vicario's for the whole season. Yeah, he's they say he's back. He's back March, but he's not gonna. I don't expect to see him before April, May, maybe a few minutes here and there. But at Austin, he's another one. Did very well. You know what? This is how damn bad we are. You know, we're just happy that somebody can catch a corner. Do you know what I mean? Catch a ball from the corner, right from a set piece. We're just happy that he commands the box. He comes and he catches the ball and we're like, yes, at last. Goalkeeping 101. That's how down bad we are at this moment because the goalkeeper's doing his job. Don't get me wrong. He's been at the club 17 years. This is his first start. I'm thinking, what did they not see in him? Do you know what I mean? But
how has he been at the club for 17 years and it's his first Premier League start?
That's mad.
How is that even possible?
It's crazy. Let me tell you something. You know why? Because he's getting a good wage. If you're on 10 bags a week, right? Say you're on 10 bags a week, you're going to stay in there. You're going to stay in it. There's no point. There's no point. He's going to say League One for probably like what a third of that. You're going to jam at the Premier League club on your whatever 10 bags a week. I'm just throwing a figure out.
I play for Spurs.
And now he's made a Premier League start. That pushes his price up. Yesterday's price is not today's price. Do you understand?
So, the question is though, is Ange going to continue to play him? Do you think? Because obviously, when you got Forrester come back, etc., do you think? Kinski will start at some point this week. I'm fairly sure of that. I think because we needed the emergency keeper. I think it should be Kinski and Austin. Forster isn't fit for purpose anymore. Forster isn't fit for purpose. We saw against who was it against where he was just like absolutely fluffing his lines, where he just couldn't kick the ball. It was Man United Carabao Cup, that Carabao Cup game where he was just absolutely full. And he's tall, but he's a decent shot stopper, but he's very hard. It's very hard for him to get down quickly enough. He's not agile. He lacks the agility.
He's got the mobility of a bus, bro. He moves like Igor, bro. He just one of them lurchy brothers, bro. He just lurch.
See, I'm trying to be diplomatic here. Do you understand? Since he's Igor. He was one of our better players. But he's got his deficiencies. He's an old school keeper. Do you understand? He's not. He's not what you know.
We got one of them.
Like
we got one of them. He's currently injured. We got one of them. He's currently injured. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I thought Pope was a G.
But Darren, I've got a big question to ask you. And by the way, I'm just gonna say, I got a 3-line whip for attention to details in the game, which everyone has said in their comments. So I was happy that there are others that are analytical as well. Because it wasn't perfect. It was a good performance, not a perfect one. But the question I'm going to come to you for, Darren, is if in an alternate universe you guys didn't have all the sickness and you had your strongest team, would you have won the game? Because I think
with all things being equal and balanced, you would have won the game, mate. We would have won the game.
Thing is, I don't.
No, I don't. No, we probably would. Sorry to cut you.
No, go ahead, Darren. Go on.
I can't tell you yes. I can't tell you because Newcastle seem to have the measure of us a lot of the time. Do you see what I mean? So I can't say that would have been, you know, a win for us because like Romero, a lot of the goals we conceded have been Romero's fault. So at this,
he would have spent his time fighting Joe Linton, bruv. Yeah,
they would have. Yeah, it would have been 2 red cards. See that, man. 2 red cards. So I don't know. We could have done with Van der Ven. we could have done with Van der Ven. I
So
tell you
could
that.
Isak.
Yes,
Isak would
Yeah,
have
so
loved
could
it.
Yeah.
Listen,
Bentancur as well.
just because he did that one
Bentancur.
time, it ain't gonna happen again. You know.
No, twice.
Just 'cause he
Twice
did
in the
that one
same game.
time, it's not happening
Twice in the
again.
same game.
Yeah.
Twice in the same
Oh,
game.
Isak would have loved it though.
It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen again. I guarantee Van der Ven would clamp him right at the first sign. But I can't say conclusively we would have won that game. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that because
Fair
you're
play.
a good side.
Fair play.
You're a good side at the end of the day. And the fact of the matter is, Angie's in charge. That's it. Angie's tactics. It doesn't matter who we've got. It's tactical suicide a lot of
You
the
know
time.
what? Stephen
So-
come in.
Big shout out
Stephen
to
come in.
Ange, by the way.
Yeah,
Big
speaking
shout
of
out to
Ange,
Ange.
Steve came in and he said, "We are still evolving, but our bench will improve us as we grow. All the saltiness from Spurs fans and Foster Coglu and supporters of other cartel clubs is they fear us." Yeah, listen, we're not here to be loved. Yeah, we're here to be feared. But anyway, nah. But just quickly on the Newcastle players, I know I think we agreed that Tino was our man in the match, right?
I think he should have been, but
Yeah.
the keeper was the goalkeeper for Spurs was given man of the match.
Yeah,
Annie
yeah.
McQuist.
But really and truly, it was Tino. It was Tino. But
It was Tino, but there were certain players still. I don't know, man. Like once again, I feel like our midfield, man, they held it down once again. And there's a certain man right now who's once again, it's really interesting how like these pundits are now just like, oh man, Bruno Gomes is like really good. I'm like, brother, this guy been good for like the last 2 years. Where you been, right? This guy's sitting on the throne right now, right? He's sitting on the throne because his energy levels and what he did throughout the game is just. But once again, I feel like I'm going to be saying this every single episode until something changes. But the fact is that I don't know, people are going to be like, you're saying this again. But anyway, because Tonali coming in and Bruno being pushed up front, you know, we're getting a lot more out of him. And we're seeing Bruno right about now playing probably some of the best football he's played at our club. I say it hands down. Because there's something I've been thinking about this is that without Tonali in this team, it's almost like Bruno has to do two roles when Tonali's not there because he's got to cover and he's got to create chances going forward. But because of Tonali coming in place, he's able just to like, you know what, I can cover a bit if you need me to. If, you know, Sandro, you want to go up front. But, you know, I have a delight now of going up front. And once again, he created an assist. So I think we're seeing a pattern here where like, you know, if you're a good betting man, you could probably put Bruno to catch assists in most games now going forward for the rest of the season. I'm just saying. But once again, no, I do think Tino, though, he was excellent. And I think also, I know in the past we have been quite critical of Tino as well, saying that like, oh, what's going on with him and such. But like, he has stepped up. But I think it's been quite interesting, though, because recently Howe has been playing Trippier. And Tino hasn't started the last 2 games, I don't think.
Yeah, one was illness. One was illness. But
that was it. It was illness, wasn't it? So Tino was out because of illness. But it's that kind of thing where it's that classic thing of if you got competition for your position, you will step up to the plate when your chance comes. So I do want to give a big shout out to Tino because
and he's heard all the praise that Lewis Hall's been getting as well. It's like and like Jeff said, Tuchel in the crowd might have just
Tuchel was watching, yeah. But let's be honest, Tuchel, go on.
Sorry, just to say about Timo Livramento, like I've always thought he's a very good player from when he was young. And I know we're all waxing lyrical about him, but he was marking Timo Werner. Let's be real. He was marking Timo Werner. All right, let's just keep it a buck.
But Werner is very, very quick, and the pace that Tino showed to keep up with him as well.
Yeah, but all you need to do is all he did was he used his angle, cut out the runs. He used his pace and used it, cut out his runs. Timo Werner ain't got a clue after.
What was the one when there was a sprint and there was 3 players sprinting? Was it Timo versus Tino and Gordon?
And they just whoom.
And Timo blew them out. Gordon just got there. He had to bust a gasket.
Livramento
second half,
very fast, bruv.
Yeah.
But any half decent winger would have any half decent winger with pace would have done better than Timo Werner. So that's why I wouldn't give Tino Livramento man of the match just because he's kept up with Timo Werner. You understand? He's clearly got. Everybody's got a better footballing brain than him. I'm sorry, Timo.
But listen,
it's the fact.
Big up Double D's in the building. We're gonna get to Liverpool towards
Yes,
the end of the
Stubbs.
show, innit? But
Yeah,
I know
we
you
got
don't
to
want
talk
to
about
talk about it.
Liverpool.
But yeah, listen, let's focus on the two teams just quickly, right? So Spurs, they're currently 12th, is it? 12th in the league? Yeah,
12.
1 point
It's
ahead
like-
of Manchester United. Yeah,
It's like the 90s all over again, bro.
right. Yeah, you mentioned how many games you've lost already this season, right? Two questions, right? How long should Ange get, and where do you think you finish in the league? Just quickly.
How long should Ange get? He should be gone yesterday. But listen, I think. Do you know what I think? Realistically, they're going to give him till the end of the season. I think they are. I don't know why, because if they're going to give him, I'm hearing that they're going to give him. You know, they're gonna make some signings. So if he's still there to help with those signings, they'll give him till the end of the season. Where we finish, I'm not even sure. At this moment in time, I don't even know if we finish in the top 10. I don't even know. I don't know.
Right.
We're in relegation form right now, but because Everton, Southampton, probably Man United are worse than us at this moment in time. Like we'll stay up. I'm at a point where we just need 40 points.
Right. Okay.
Wow.
Now, my question to you quickly, Darren T, because we're going to go to Jefferson AC, right? We know our thoughts on this one, but from the outside looking in, given how Newcastle season has gone to date, do you think they've turned the corner now?
You've had 6 in a row. Of course,
Yes.
You've done 6 in a row, but it just depends on keeping you lot fit. That's what
Bloody
it
hell,
depends on,
that
'cause your squad
is
is
so irritating.
Okay.
Yes, my bloody nerves.
We are back.
It depends. You've got to keep your key players fit. That's the main thing. If you keep the key players fit, you're always going to be there or thereabouts. But you've got to have strength in depth. And I think if you can keep them fit, you're going to fly up the table. But one injury, an Isak injury, a Gordon injury, a Tonali injury sets you back a little bit.
Yeah. Let's not talk about that. Let's not tempt fate. Let's not
put it in the air, man. Don't put it in the air. Put it back in the bottle, man. Seal it up.
Yeah?
Seal it up. I'm not hearing it.
Jefferson, the floor is yours. Yeah? Go.
What I would say is this, if you use a boxing analogy, or even sometimes in tennis, sometimes if you have a few draws, you get to the final, you win a Grand Slam, people want to know who is in the final, who did you play? Same as boxing, you can win any title, but people always call you a paper champion because they want to know what was your CV, who did you fight to get the title? And what I would say is there are a hell of a lot of positives, even optically from what we've seen. We've given the team praise in terms of the style of football, the patterns of play, the defensive shape. Yes, we've criticised certain things such as the late substitutions, etc. Fine. But what we've got essentially is a sandcastle. So we've not built a brick castle, and Darren has talked about some of those things there. It can all fall apart very easily with a few changes here and there, which we hope, with injuries and that don't happen. But when you look deep, you have to look at the fact that 6 in a row, fine, that is positive. But 2 of those are teams in the bottom 3. Villa, credible, although again, it would be interesting if, we know the challenges of being in the Champions League, but I'm not going to take that away from our team. I thought that was a very good result. Man United, we know they're a team in disarray. So you know what I'm getting at here is that overall, yes, we can look at it and say, wow, 6 in a row. We haven't been on a run like this since, I think they said, the Alan Pardew times. And there are a hell of a lot of positives. But if you look at it under a microscope, you have to give a bit of balance there and look at the finer details or that shade of grey and say, look, have we had a bit of luck? Yes, we have. And that's fine. That's okay. However, have we shown character and rigors of a good team grinding out a gritty win? Yes, we have. We've seen it before where teams have won titles. I talked about, when me and D-Man have argued, I've talked about City being lucky, in my opinion, the past 2 seasons. They've shown that there's been a lot of games they've not deserved to win, in my opinion, clutch goals from Gvardiol and things like that. So we can't always criticize, but I'm just saying, leave that little bit there for balance rather than, I'm not saying you guys, but I've seen it on either other channels or people on Twitter waxing lyrical saying, we're back, we're how we were in 22, 23. In my opinion, I don't think we're not. However, it's very difficult to judge over a longer period of time because we've already played the likes of Liverpool and, you know, drawn with them. So how long can you hold the standard for? How long can you hold the run for? And who else are you waiting to play to judge us by? So I understand those criticisms. But at the moment, until I don't have that feeling where I think I've got trepidation heading into a game and thinking we're going to lose today or we're going to drop points today, that is when I feel we are back. And that's how I felt in 22-23. But that's just me.
The thing is, wait.
Yeah, go.
Let's just jump in the conversation quite quickly, rapid here. Because, first of all, with this team of how they're performing and this momentum, because even when I predicted this game, and I think we all predicted wins, we felt confident going to these games because naturally there's confidence building in this camp right now. And I don't feel like, even with the Tottenham game, I don't feel negative around it that I thought that they were going to lose, etc. Next point is that also with the injuries, is that every team can get injuries. So I feel like having that above our head of like, if we get injuries, any team can get injuries. It is what it is kind of thing. And I feel like if you're talking about us having like, I don't know, Man City levels with replacement killers, it's just not going to happen this season. It's just not going to happen in January. And we also got to mind expectations of January in general, really. Next point is that the momentum is good right now. And I feel like when we were critical to say that, oh, these next fixtures, because even back in like November, etc., we were like, this Leicester game, etc., how are we going to do? What you know? And we looked at the fixtures like, how is the team going to come out of this? How's Eddie Howe going to manage this? And to be honest, it is what it is. He has come out with flying colours on all these games.
So where are the standards, AC? And I'll put it out there to people in the chat. No, seriously.
No,
where are the standards? I'm not going to jump for joy for beating Ipswich and Leicester City.
I want to jump in. Go on. I want to jump in.
You've had 6 wins in a row. Like
against two. Against two.
The thing is, though, if you're going to say that, like, oh...
What do you mean against two? One was Tottenham.
Aaron, you had... How many players did you have out yesterday? 13.
Wait.
13. Man United, new manager, under disarray.
Jefferson.
No, wait. I'm not hearing that.
Let me ask a question. Jefferson, yeah? You said who we played, right? So we're at the stage of the season where everybody's played everybody, yeah? Correct? Am I correct? Apart from Liverpool, played Everton, right? How many teams in the whole season have put a run of 5 games in a row winning? How many teams?
Only Forest and Liverpool, from what I've seen.
No, Forest and Chelsea. Liverpool have not done that. The mighty Liverpool have not done that. Yeah, and they played every team that we played. Yeah, so surely that counts for something because you said who we played. We played the same team as Liverpool have. Yeah, and we've beaten these teams. Liverpool haven't in a row. We've beaten these teams in a row, bro. Yeah, so that counts for something. Yeah, and like AC said, and don't get me wrong, in the 6-game run. No team in all competitions, no team is going to do 6 games in a run playing great football and deserving to win every single game. Unless you're Man City of old, no team doing that. Even Arsenal, when they went on that bad run last season, some of the games, they were very fortunate. These 2 games the last 2 games, it's not like we should have lost those games. Maybe say the Spurs game, okay, they could arguably have got a point. Yeah, arguably. Yeah, Man United did not deserve to get anything from our game. I don't get anything. That half an hour alone, we should have smoked them, bro. We should have smoked them. So it's literally one game when we really got fortunate from. Yeah, and I get what you're saying. It's not perfect. But we have to take it because when we were in the beginning of the season, when we were talking about we weren't taking chances. When we played 10 men, we were lucky to get the win. Yeah. Then we weren't beating the lower league teams. We only turned up for the big games. We've now addressed all of that. Yeah, in that 6-game period, we addressed all of that. And not only that, we scored something like 18 goals and conceded 2. Yeah, if any other team, if Liverpool had done that or Arsenal had done that, you'd be waxing lyrical about it.
This is the thing, and this is the thing. And I think if you do remove our name from that, it's not Newcastle. And let's say, even if, like, not to bring you into this, Darren, but let's say if it was Spurs who scored 18 goals and only conceded 2, everyone would be like, this team is flying. So I feel like, and I know you can bring it to the things about, oh, this particular squad wasn't up to par, etc. But there is a thing of like, the fact is like, you only play against who you face. And
yeah, true. That's fair.
And you know,
Right.
I don't know, because when we look at the season of us last year, when we had injuries, teams were beating us, people were like, Newcastle not turning. It's just like, we can only offer what we can offer, kind of thing. And
just
because
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
No.
right. You
That's
know, you
fair.
talk about waxing lyrical, right? This tweet is a bit over the top, but what you think about that? It goes, even in this form, I still don't think our fans know how good we are in the pecking order of the Premier League. We went to High Flying Forest, and Nuno Santo said we were the best team they've played all season. We took Liverpool all the way in their hardest game so far. We wiped the floor with Ipswich, and they beat Chelsea immediately after and almost beat Fulham away. They aren't a bad team. Hold tight, Robertson. Unai Emery completely lost his head like Villa fans have never seen before blaming the ref for his own team getting done by us. Ange Postecoglou completely lost his head like never before in his career, blaming the referee for his own team getting done by us. Embarrassing Man United at Old Trafford was such a walk in the park, no one really talked about it. Even during our dodgy start to the season, we beat Arsenal, restricting them to one shot on target. We took City head on, and this was before they completely fell off. We've got the best all-round striker in the league, arguably the best midfield. Gordon is arguably the best left winger, and our defense can be an absolute wall when it wants to be. When we are on it and heads are screwed on, we are a magnificent Premier League team, one of the best there is. Now, some of that is over the top, but you can see what we're saying here. And don't get me wrong, should we go on like a 4 or 5 game losing streak, then obviously it's time to get critical again.
Pitchforks out.
Right, but right about now, because even like a whole that Specs, I know he's in the chat. He said, "I beg you to all answer the question. Yeah, is it still Eddie Howe out?" Right now, I've said, I have to hold my hands up. I said after the Man United, after the Man United or the Man United game, I think I said, I said if he comes through that, then I have to chill for the season. Yeah, my thing is if he doesn't get top 6, he has to go. But right about now, I can't really be too critical of him because he's getting the job done better than any of us ever expected in this period. And again, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. There's obviously stuff to build on. But right about now, you have and credit. You are more positive than you are negative, Jefferson. But I just think we have to admit that this is a corner turn because we all said we're going to judge him after the Man United game, and not only that, then we added the Spurs game, and he's beaten them as well. And obviously, there are mitigating circumstances. Man United missed a couple of players. Spurs will listen a few players. But no one cared about that when we were injury riven. When we got clapped by Spurs 4-1 last season, there was no talk about our injury crisis. Yeah, we had to defeat.
Agreed.
Yeah,
you
know what I mean.
I agree.
17-year-old in the middle, Miley.
That's fair.
I mean,
but my thing is about the standards. Where are the standards? I'm not jumping for joy for beating bottom 3 teams, guys. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And the thing I would say is this: we talked about the injuries last season. This is why I feel we needed another manager anyway. The fact we had all those injuries and we still only finished 3 points out the top 6 tells you how quality we are. We finished 8 points off the top 4 with all those injuries. Who knows, without the injuries or a different manager, an elite manager, where we would be. So that's my point. Where are the standards? We know how good we are. So should we be celebrating stuff that we should be expecting?
But hold on.
That's my point.
Right.
We trashed Ipswich 4-0. Yeah. I'm like,
wait. Bring this back down. Bring this back down.
Big club, guys.
Bring this back down because no, listen. This is a season where anybody beats anyone. So talking about bottom 3, I'm maybe minus Southampton. Southampton's like the worst, aren't they? Their goal difference is awful, right? But this is the season where anyone beats anybody. No one's expecting Forest to do well this season. No one's expecting Bournemouth to do well this season, right?
Well, Spurs could have beat Ipswich. Spurs could have beat Ipswich.
I feel like
put it this way, because we put the pressure on certain managers that have spent a lot of money. We put the pressure on Ten Hag. We put the pressure on my man Arteta, who spent 750 million. You guys, well, we've all talked about in this one podcast: Tonali, Isak, Gordon. Who else? Bruno. Botman. How much did Isak cost? 63. How much did Tonali cost? 55. How much did Bruno cost? 39. I could reel it off. If we've got those players in our team, guys, we should not be waxing lyrical because we've beaten bottom 3 teams.
Right. So should we?
That's my opinion, isn't it?
But it's the Premier League.
Because boys, I don't know what's happened, but 6 months ago. Well, 3 months ago, we were mocking people on Twitter saying, yo, this is village mentality.
Wait a minute. First of all, no one's waxing lyrical about beating those teams, yeah? What I will say is you, me, and AC said We are worried about the Leicester game, and we're worried about the who was it?
I predicted Leicester would beat us.
Right, the Ipswich game.
I predicted Leicester would beat us.
Because we had visions of Luton last season. So when we slap those teams, we're not waxing lyrical, but we beat them convincingly, but other teams haven't. Yeah. What we're talking about also is Aston Villa, Man United, Spurs.
Fulham struggle today, man.
Three very good teams, 3 decent teams.
And Fulham are to be good now.
Yeah, we've wiped the floor with. Now, also, we're currently 5th. Yeah, we're 5 points off Arsenal. Yeah, so that you can wax lyrical about. We're 5 points above your team, the mighty Arsenal, who went to be the best team in the league going into the season.
Last season.
Yeah, but you said they're going to win the league. You said, or whatever. You said they're the best team. For the last 2 seasons, the best team. We're 5 points behind them. And also, when he talked about, the injuries and we finished in how many points off 6th or 4th, wherever it was, but you can flip that and say, hold a minute, with all those injuries, we finished a few points off 4th. Yeah, so you can't.
It shows you how good we are. So that's the standard, D-man.
Hold on.
And last season was failure. Did we all agree that last season was failure?
Yeah. But
the one that AC brings up all the time is we've got no Europe, so we should be up there.
What do you mean
we got more rest in between games?
Bruv.
Do I lie?
I just want to pause and show this. This is really interesting thing that I grabbed earlier. This is table form for away performances. We are currently 5th. Now, we knew the away form was like a big thing for Newcastle. We were dog shit for away. Like, just generally, just away form was terrible. This, 2024 calendar year, 2025 now. So 2024, but obviously this is showing this season. So what we are seeing, and obviously it's quite evident in the last 6 wins because there are a lot of away games. And that's one thing I will say, and I will put my hands up and say that, we are turning up in these away fixtures. And despite, I know we talk about the caveat of the Man United missing players or Tottenham missing players, but face it, there are bigger opposition, if you want to call it that, So I feel like this is almost like more evidence to show that trajectory has changed. Now, for me personally, I think it's quite evident the trajectory has changed. There is a good momentum around this team at the moment. Everyone's hovering around Isak saying about best Premier League striker at the moment, trying to say that he should go other teams, etc. Everyone's waxing lyrical about Hall being best left back. People are looking at a midfield 3 like it's the best in the Premier League right now. So I feel like, it's interesting. We still take every game as it comes. We've got a semi-final coming up with Arsenal, which at the moment, I don't know, man. I'm just it's there for the taking, really, because Arsenal, believe it or not, man, they're dropping in form. They're not really scoring as much goals. Saka's now injured. They've dipped to Odegaard's not quite the same. It's quite interesting the other day. I see that Odegaard got rested a bit for that game that they had. So clearly Arteta wants to use him on Tuesday. But, I feel like when we were critical about Eddie Howe, and we said that, when I built the fixtures up, and I was just if he doesn't make it through those fixtures, I don't think he can keep his job. And I was honest. At that particular time, I was honest about that. But because since that point of time, he's come through with it and go beyond our expectations, to be honest.
We've got to what are our standards, because at the end of the day, we finished 4th 2 seasons ago. We were well expected. We're not a top 4 team. We are not a top 4 team. Yeah, we finished 4th. We are not a top 4 team, right? Top 7, obviously, coming from 4th to 7th is failure. But realistically, we're a top 6-7 team. Yeah, we look at the teams in this league: Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea. Yeah, with all the money they've spent. Yeah, you've got Man City. That's 4 already. Then you should have Aston Villa and Spurs have spent more than us, right? So already, and the mighty Manchester United. We know how much they spent. Yeah, realistically, we should be 8th. Yeah, we should be 8th. On money spent alone, we should be 8th. And the quality players that these teams have got in their team anyway, it's not. What is the standard? What's the standard? Top 6 this season is our standard. Yeah, top 6. I still be surprised we finished in the top 5. I'll be very surprised because of who we are at this present time.
I wouldn't be. It's only dependent on injuries, like I said.
I think we can. I think we can aim for top 4. We can aim for top 4. That should be our aim. But anything between 4th and 6th, I'm happy with. I'll be honest, I'm happy with, because that's European football.
We have to get 4th, D-man. Me and AC were talking about.
We have to get 4th to hold on to the likes of Isak and Bruno, whatever. We have
and the revenue off the pitch as well.
Yeah,
because Europa League don't give us enough money.
But do you think going into the season, the owner said to Eddie Howe, you have to get 4th?
we don't know. We don't.
They
know.
said Eddie Howe came out and said, "I've been told it's European qualification. Yeah, it's European qualification, and by that you mean sixth, because seventh you never know with FA Cup with burned us before. So top six is he will keep his job. I've talked it. Don't be wrong, it won't be ideal because Isak will leave. Yeah, but his objective is to make top six in European football because that shows progression. That shows progression on that one because we need to be a European team to start with. I don't think we're ready to be continuously in it. Listen, for financially, top four, whatever, Champions League, whatever, I get it. But as fans, we cannot expect to qualify for top four every season at this current time.
We're still going for a rebuild as well. We're still in this process. But I tell you what though, like depending on how we finish in this league and it comes summer and the end of that transfer summer and we still got our players and we've invested, I think it's going to tell us a lot, everything we need to know, because I was, it's not too long ago. I think about 2 months ago, I did question it about Bruno a bit, and I was just like, I think because the ship felt like it was sinking, didn't it? And I was just like, it could be Bruno's last season. But now I'm just like, I think my man's here to stay. Like I don't know. It feels like he's invested a little more. I don't know.
Isak's gone. Bruno is more likely to say Isak is gone. But I think we might be given the financials. If an offer came in for Bruno, we'd have to offer it. With who? Isak.
Gone where?
Who? Isak.
Gone where? If he goes,
any top team will come in for him. But Barman City, any Liverpool will come in for him. Arsenal will come in for him. Barcelona will come in for him.
I don't think
are they going to spend the money? Barcelona ain't got the money.
Barcelona
haven't got the money. Liverpool ain't going to spend £150 million.
Liverpool will sell their assets. Yeah, they'll sell their assets and get Isak in. I'm telling you, if there's even a sniff of Isak being interested, they're bidding. Yeah, they're bidding big money.
Not for the money that you're. Not for the money that you got. Nah, I don't think so.
Do you really think? Before we move on, because we've got to talk about Liverpool and all that. Before we move on, do you really think we're going to sell? There's a lot of comments. Yeah. Do you really think we're going to sell Isak for 150 million? That's to scare people off. We're not. He's going for cheaper than 150 million. Let's be honest. He's going for cheaper than that.
I don't think he will. No. Right. Do you really? Okay. Realistically, how much do you think a club? Realistically, how much do you think we will sell him for? Because at the moment, I don't know, man. I'm just like, it's not 100 mil. It's not. It's just not.
I think if a team came in and said 100 mil in 2 installments or 100 mil cash, we're taking that.
You take that, yeah. You will take it.
No, I don't want to, but I think we would take it. 100 mil, 100 mil guarantee.
You take it.
Well, we'll buy 3 then.
I don't think anybody answers the phone unless someone says 120. Personally,
yeah. It might be that player swaps, isn't it?
Because we paid 63 for him. I feel like
63 and you get 100 million, bro. Come on, man. That's good money, bro.
Newcastle would sell him for 100 mil, I think.
Yeah. But listen, let's go to some of these comments before we move on to
the bare comments.
We could be here all day, man.
Can I just say, bro, all these people, they miss me being positive at the start. I'm just saying, innit? So anyone that's come late and they're like, Jeff's doing his villain role again. I was
the heel. Right, where do you want to start, AC? Where do you want to start?
Oh my gosh, there's a lot. Where do you want to go?
Right, let's start with Brant said that, well, first of all, I think Stephen left a comment about Lego Head. He said he called it. He said, I hope we get something at Lego Head's ground on Tuesday. Yeah, listen. And then Ashington said, Liverpool draw, we are decent though, and we had more trouble with bottom teams earlier on. This is to do with the debate that we said. I don't know if you can see them, AC.
I'm tracking. I'm trying to track. It's so much.
From 10-19. 10-19.
10-19. Okay. Here we go. Yeah. Stephen.
Oh, we get something at Lego Head's ground on Tuesday. Yeah. You never know. We're gonna have to frustrate the hell out of them, but it's possible. It is possible. I think it suits us. Even with Bruno missing, I think you could bring in Longstaff and just keep it compact. You know, maybe Miley. You never know. But yeah, Ashington said Liverpool draw. We were decent though, and we had more trouble with bottom 3 teams earlier on. True, and we've addressed it. He said our main issue was losing or drawing to bottom teams. We usually turned up for the top teams, and that's something we addressed in previous pods as well. And we seem to have that's why I say we seem to have turned the corner because we're dealing with that as it stands. And he's also said we've actually made a few managers lose their head. But we've also got the comment from Specs as well. He said he enjoyed it, Jefferson. We're not Liverpool expectations, etc. They were good. They were good big wins. Agreed. You know, historically, you know, to beat Villa, Spurs, and Man United, and two of them be away from home, very impressive. Very impressive. And you can only
honestly, like, I you know, we've all been supporting this club for a long time, and to see my team take these away fixtures like that and just scalping these teams, bro, I'm holding it to my chest right now. Like, I don't know when next time I can see this. Like,
yeah.
like
drink it in. Drink it in.
I'm drinking it in because I'm just like, I'm taking those scalps right now. Sorry, Darren. Sorry, I know you're still a Spurs guest on here. But
I'm just sitting there, man. I'm just sitting there.
I'm just taking those scalps in. I'm just like, you know what? Take them in. And I'm looking at next fixtures, like home fixtures. They look tasty. I'm like, you know what?
But big up Bright who's watching. He said, in terms of the tie that we've got, he said no Saka for them, no Bruno or Share for us, though. It's going to be interesting, very interesting. And this is for all of us, I suppose, from Ashington, Darren T included. Top 4 or cup trophy?
Trophy.
I'm taking the trophy. I'm taking the trophy.
Silverware. Football's about winning.
Yeah.
Football's about winning.
Top 4 and the trophy will come.
Really?
More top 4 means more revenue, more money, sign better players. Better players means you get the trophy eventually.
Right, let me just raise. Let me just read. Thank you. You said it before I could. Yeah. Because we can get in top 4. We were getting top 4 consistently for a while. And where is our trophy? We ain't won anything since 2008.
You're in the dictionary.
Yeah,
if you type what is Spursy, you lot are unique, innit?
Well, you know
remember,
what?
you man ain't won a trophy for how many years, you know?
Oh,
you man haven't won a trophy for goodness knows how many years, you know?
This is the conversation. I'm not getting involved. Let you two fight.
So I'm just saying, innit? I'm saying I take the trophy all day long.
I'm not getting involved.
All day long.
Well, you know what? Ashington also said they hope we can get 4th to 6th. But Brandt coming, he said he 100% wants the Champions League. We are in a spot where it doesn't have to be one or the other. True. You know, we could secure both. You know, win the cup, get the top 4.
To be honest, if we just saying the magic wand here, if we do win the Carabao Cup and we end up 5th, bro, that is a great season. I'll put my hands up and be like, this man Eddie Howe turned the ship around and took us to Pleasure Island. Because at one point in time, we felt like we were on a Titanic and it was sinking. Right. That's what we're going to say.
If he wins the trophy, he becomes the Messiah. But anyway,
we might go out of business, guys, because half our subscribers are on the basis that we were Howe out. we were the alternative. Everyone was like, yo, let's hit 90s mags.
Listen, I'm not saying I'm not Eddie Howe out. I'm just saying I'm chilling until the end of the season, isn't it? Yeah.
We're gonna put ourselves out of business.
I think now, what I sounded in it, and I think we all kind of agree on this, is that you gotta give credit where it's due.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I give it credit. I'm just like, you know what? You finally put tonight in your team. I'm not going to mention this again. You finally put tonight in your team, and look what it's doing now. Yeah, even though we spoke about this since the summer. But anyway, that's fine, Eddie.
Adrian Cummings said expectations are there to be transcended. True. And Brad said, in my opinion, the only player we need to worry leaves sometime soon is Isak. I agree. 150 mil is the only money we should even think about sending him for. 150 mil only brings you to the table, in my opinion.
Yes, man. That's what I'm thinking.
And yeah, just some more. You got some more. Double D said Darren T clapping back like Ja Rule.
I'm going to clap back.
But listen, before we wrap up, because we've been going there for a while now, we have to talk about some of the other fixtures that happened, namely the one from this evening, Liverpool versus Manchester United. Right now, Liverpool 2, Manchester United 2. Now, like similar to our game, a lot of people thought we're gonna thrash Spurs, and even go to the ground. The Spurs fans around me like, not looking forward to today. They're gonna spank us, whatever. And it was a closely contested game, despite Spurs' injuries. Now we know how garbage Manchester United are, right? And I predict the 4-0 sweep from Liverpool, and most people thought this was going to be a cricket score.
It's gonna be
The formula
3-0.
Liverpool, you know what I mean? So
I thought it was going to be 7 again.
listen, Man
That
United
actually
deserve
happened, boy.
Man United deserve to win the game. Make no mistake of it, they deserve to win that game. Yeah, Liverpool were awful. Yeah, Liverpool they're relying on moments. Liverpool were relying on moments. Man United were playing more like the team. If an alien flew down from nowhere and saw that game, they wouldn't believe that Liverpool were top of the league and Man United are 14th wherever they are. Like Man United, and as much as I criticize him, Bruno Fernandes was balling today. There was a move he put together in the second half when he duppied about 4 men trying to press him down, and I think Trent had to get booked by dragging him back. Well, he was on smoke today, yeah. And credit to Amrim, G'ing up the players, but Trent Alexander, bruv, yeah, he had an absolute mare, yeah. Maybe his head's already in Madrid, I don't know, but Van Dijk wanted to punch him up on multiple occasions today. Like, he was absolutely diabolical. Yeah, at fault for the first goal. I didn't cover himself in glory for the second, I think. But you know what? And like I said, Man United could have won it at the end with the Harry Maguire shot. Yeah, obviously it bubbled up a little bit, but had that gone in, can you imagine? Madness, absolute madness. But any thoughts on the games, you guys, on that game?
I never watched it. I haven't watched it yet.
I think
So, surprised at the result.
yeah, I'm generally surprised that they turned up like that. But once again, you did mention there Bruno Fernandes, and I feel about this for a while actually with their side Man United, that he does carry that team. When he's not playing, that team looks ordinary, but when he plays, a lot goes through him obviously, and he does a lot for that team. And it's almost like Man United fans will hate me saying this, but like he's almost like too good for that team, personally. And I do wonder. I do wonder what his future holds. I don't know.
They want him out. A lot of the fans want him out. They don't want him there.
But like, I don't know, man. But that final chance there for Maguire, though, boy, I was just like, it was one of the ones where like it's that classic like a defender in the wrong place. If that was any other player on the pitch, midfielder, striker, that's a goal. Defender just didn't.
It was a bad pass though. Because what's the name? Xerxes bounced the ball towards him, bro. That's a square on the floor.
Yeah, it was awkward, but you know, if you had a man like Alexander Isak in that position, my man just cushions it, right? Right.
Yeah. There's a couple comments. I see Ashton says Slotting has inherited a good team. Not many managers get that lucky. Brant said, when Trent and Salah are gone, we will see how good Slot actually is. I'm not sold on him yet. And the Double D said that Trent played like Trent Derby.
If you let me stay.
Oh my God.
But Kante said Trent got sent to Madrid by Dalot today. Boy. Well, the lip got sent to the shots by Gakpo, bro, because that was embarrassing. Yeah, that's shocking. Absolutely shocking. But listen, I'm glad that Man United didn't win, because the longer they stay down there, far away from us, the better. I want them to suffer.
Yeah.
I want them to suffer.
I like their manager. I want their manager to. I don't want the club to succeed, but I want the manager to succeed or show enough.
Nah, man.
Get sacked.
I'm a fan of the manager.
I'm a fan of him, but get sacked and move on, innit? Get sacked and move on. I hope he fails there.
Just to say, I mean, I won't go into our game against them, but if you notice, the key change was the midfield, wasn't it? He made that mistake of playing the 2 old men in midfield. Obviously, that worked for us. But once you got the younger legs in the middle of the pitch, that obviously helped them, Mainu and Agate. And then I noticed as well that Maguire was in the centre of the back three. My man, little man, what's his name? Martinez was on the outside. So he's learning from making those little tweaks, made him a bit more solid, harder to beat.
I think more loss is going to come from Man United, though, because they turn up for this Liverpool game, which they would do because it's rivalry, right? It's almost like a game of isolation today. It is an isolation game.
Agreed.
But I'm telling you now, if they got future fixtures with Ipswich will bury them.
Well, they've got Arsenal in the cup.
Kante.
and then they've got Southampton. Yeah, Southampton need to win sometime. Yeah, Mark my words. Mark my words.
But have you seen Southampton's like goal difference? It's like -35 or something
Yeah,
crazy.
they're statistically
a record.
32.
Yeah, at this stage of the season, statistically, the worst team in Premier League history. So you know what I mean? They are awful.
You want to buy that Tyler Diblin off them, 25 mil, yeah?
Yeah.
Another Englishman, but we'll have to get into that another time.
I'm not sure about that, but anyway.
Just quickly before we go, Darren
Because
T,
you drop points, Kante. That's what I'm coughing for, my guy.
Bro, Fulham can't see us again. They're not getting above us again in the league, bro. Fulham are done. They're done. But Darren T, before we look off here, I'll leave it. What are your thoughts on Arsenal dropping points to Brighton yesterday?
I'm a happy guy.
Was it a pen?
Do you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I ain't seen the game because I don't really watch Arsenal live like that. To be honest with you,
I've
got better things to do. Do you understand? I got better things to do. I'm sorry. Let's be real. I'm a Spurs fan. I don't like Arsenal.
You're not gonna watch Arsenal play, are you?
Yeah. So I just thought, you know what? I'm gonna go and do something else. I've got work to do. Do you know what I mean? So I didn't even watch it. No, I didn't. No, sorry. I saw the penalty incident. I'm wholeheartedly agree with the referee, and any decision the referee makes against them is fine in my book. On the real, I thought it was soft. But do I care?
No, not one bit.
Do I care? Because we had a decision that I believe was against us. Every team gets it, innit? Every team gets that decision. The only thing that Arsenal fans do is they say that everybody's against them. They drop points and the whole entire world is against them.
True.
True. At the end of the day, you know what?
I know his dad. I used to work with his dad. He's a cool guy. His dad's actually a Spurs fan, by the way. So I don't want to bring the family.
Oh, that's conflicted, isn't it?
But yeah.
My dad's an Arsenal fan.
His dad's good. His dad's good people's. So I was happy for young Ethan yesterday, but obviously,
he might be injured as well for our game as well. He might be out as well. So we'll see.
I'm glad they dropped points anyway. So
yeah. But listen, we can leave it there. An extended episode today. Thank you all for your comments, for watching. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. And we're going to be back after the... I don't know if we're going to do an Arsenal one, but we'll be back definitely after the... Well, are we going to do a probably one? I don't know. We'll see. If we lose, then we're going to have to. You know what I mean? We'll have something for you anyway.
Club, man. Man's local club. Come on,
Same way.
Yeah. Come on, Bromley.
Yeah. But we'll see, man. We'll see. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. And until then, we'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.
See you later, guys. In a bit.